Hey, this is Scott, and today we're finally reviewing the new-ish Fotga A50 camera monitor. So when Fotga first reached out to me to ask if I wanted to test and review this monitor, honestly my gut reaction was to say no. I mean, no offense to Fotga or JTZ, I've used a lot of their stuff, their matte box, follow focus, V-mount, battery plate. All of it's been really great, especially for the prices. But nothing from them really screamed monitor manufacturer for me. And one more budget-friendly monitor from somebody who is kind of new to the game didn't seem like anything that I was super interested in. But I did check it out, and actually it surprised me in how great it seemed, on paper at least. So I agreed, and here I am, using it right now on my Canon C200, which is why it's not in this frame right now. But I've been using it for probably over a month now, and it honestly hasn't come off my camera, unless it's to go to another camera. So it's been a really great monitor to work with, and that's not necessarily because it's the best monitor. It's not the brightest screen, but it's not too bad either. It's pretty standard at this price point, and especially with the included sunscreen, you can pretty easily see it outdoors considering the lower brightness. The image itself is sharp, contrasty, it looks like it has accurate colors. Overall, it is a pretty nice looking image. It's not the most rugged, it is very plasticky, but it's lightweight, especially if you're using small batteries or no batteries when you're powering it with external power, and it's also not the worst feeling monitor either. It doesn't have the best user interface, but it's actually really not bad at all. What they do have though is 4 versions of this monitor, so you don't have to waste your money on models with unnecessary features. You can choose from those 4 whatever you need. They have one, I believe that's just the straight monitor. They have one with touchscreen, one with touchscreen and LUT, and one with touchscreen, LUT, and SDI inputs, which is the one that I have here, the A50 TLS, I believe it's called. But again, you can choose exactly what you want, so it will fit your needs without spending unnecessary money. You get tons of mounting points on here, which is really great to be able to use it in a variety of ways, and the included hot shoe mount is one of the best I have ever used. Unfortunately, it's a little bit plasticky, but even with that, it integrates with your monitor's physical design really nicely. And again, we'll get more into that in just a moment, but plastic or not, this is one of the best hot shoe mounts that I have used. You get both physical buttons and dials to control your menus, as well as a touchscreen in this case, and it has most of the connections on the rear, which works for me. I prefer that instead of having things sticking out at weird angles on the sides. Maybe depending on your setup, that might not work for you, but I personally like it. You also get a folding sun hood on here, which can of course be completely removed if you don't want it, but it's been really great for me because of course it lets you see the screen more clearly when you're outdoors, but also when you fold it down, it completely covers that screen, so it makes it really great for transport. It keeps the screen protected when you're throwing it in your bag, so I really like having that design instead of something that just attaches and detaches with Velcro. So long story short, the A50 has been one of those things that, although it's not necessarily the best, there's nothing in particular that really stands out as absolutely amazing about it, it's just been one of those tools that I really enjoy using. And although I do have better monitors, this probably is going to be finding itself on my C200 more often than not, at least for now. If you are curious, however, to see more specifically exactly what this has to offer in both physical design and menus and features, I will dive into that now, so let's get right into it. So I've got this mounted on the Zcam E2 right now just to show you, the physical design and some of the menus and features and stuff like that. And we'll start from the physical design. You can see, of course, I have the sun hood closed. You can just lift it up from here and fold out these flaps to hold it open, and boom, you got your sun hood, or you can close it down to protect the screen. I really like having that there. This whole thing can be removed. It's just on this frame, which you can unclip from this and take off. I'm not going to do it right now because it's too awkward at this angle, but you can take that off if you want to. On the sides here, you have the same connections on both sides, and you also have these connections on the bottom. They have this sort of rosette style attachment here, and the original screw thread here is a 3/8 inch screw thread, and they include some little adapters like this one right here that is a M6 adapter. They also have 1/4 inch adapters for this hole, so the M6 allows you to use it with this little mounting bracket thing that I have here on the bottom, and that's a really great little bracket because it's like a rosette style attachment here. So you can see that I'm spinning this back and forth really easily, and it's not loosening from there because this keeps it attached in that position. So the mount is spinning, but you don't have to worry about the screw coming loose at all, which is really great. And these little bumps are flush with the surface of this, so if you want to use other things to mount it here, use the 3/8 to 1/4 inch adapter and just use a standard magic arm or something like that, you'll have no problems with it. And you do have 1/4 inch threads on either side of this. You can also use this with JTZ's, I think it's called the Link or something like that, to integrate with their entire system. I don't have that here, but these screw threads and these connections will allow you to set that up right on the side of the monitor really in a nice way, a nice smooth looking way. On the bottom, I'm sorry, you don't have actually those extra 1/4 inch screw threads on the sides, but you got, again, that rosette style 3/8 inch connection in the middle, which you can use the adapters to use an M6 size screw thread or a 1/4 inch screw thread. And you do also have your fan vent here. You can turn the fan on and off if you need to. And you have your HDMI out on the bottom. This is the only other connection that's on the side of the monitor, not the rear of the monitor. Is right here, the HDMI out. This is the mount which I was talking about, which I really love here. It's a hot shoe mount, so you can just put it into this hot shoe on the top handle like I have it here. And you can adjust the, I guess you could say, friction here using this screw, and you can just tilt it back and forth, or you can lock it down completely if you want to, but I love just keeping it a little bit loose so I can tilt it back and forth like this. And also you can spin it. So really solid connection with the monitor because of that rosette style connection here. It doesn't come loose from that screw, which you can tighten and loosen by using this little screw thread right here. So really easy to attach to the monitor. Really solid connection that doesn't spin loose from the screw on you. You can tilt it, you can twist it. It's just a really great little mount here. So really great job with this, and it's included in the kit. On the top here, you have your power button, you have the F7 button, which honestly, it's a function button. I'll have to double check actually when I'm going through the menus what this is mappable to, but you know, all of these, the F7, F6, F5, and these 4 right here can be programmed to some different functions, which I will show you on the monitor in a moment. These 4, I believe, have a wider range of functions that can be mapped to them compared to these here. These are also volume buttons, as you can see the plus and minus here. And then you have this wheel to navigate through the menu by scrolling and clicking by pushing on it. On the back of the monitor, you have all your connections. You have your connection here for that, they say J6. I believe this is their whatever you call it, JTZ Link or whatever. This is the connection for that, I believe. Under that, you have your HDMI in as well as a USB port. The HDMI out is on the bottom. You have your SDI in and out over here on the side. You have your battery out. You can send battery power to your camera if you have the correct adapter. You can also use an adapter like this to plug into this and use an LPE6 battery from Canon. And I believe you can use one Sony MPF and one Canon LPE6. You can mix them and you can hot swap these batteries as well. So it's nice that it has 2 slots on here to allow you to have continuous power even as they're getting low. You can switch out the batteries without turning the monitor off. Above that, you have your headphone jack and your DC in, and you can see that I'm actually powering this right now from a Bebob V-mount battery, V-micro battery actually. And I like using that just because it keeps everything lighter and more compact on the monitor side of things. To turn this on, you're just going to hold down the power button for a few seconds, and overall it takes maybe 5 or 10 seconds to get started up to the point where you can start using it. Here you can see some of those accessories I was talking about from Fotga or JTZ, whatever you want to call it. Sorry, I touched the screen there. Going over these physical buttons, if you press the power button just once, it will cycle the touch on and off, the ability to touch the screen. The button next to that, I believe it was F7, I have set to false color. It will toggle that off and on. The F5 and the F6, which are the plus and minus buttons, will, in my case, adjust the zebra value. So you can go in and quickly adjust what value those zebras will show up at. Right now they're not turned on, so you can't see them, but you can quickly go in and dial that in very specifically right here. Then those other 4 function buttons will do whatever you are programmed them to do. For example, my 4th button here, I have programmed to peaking, and there's 2 stages of peaking, for example, so it will cycle through those. The next button, the 3rd button, I have set to the aspect ratio markers, and you can see here there's a number of different settings, so you can cycle through those just by pushing that button. And we'll go ahead and check out what those can be programmed to in just a minute. Finally, you have the wheel, which you can push down to enter the menu, and then turn to cycle through the menu, push again to jump into a sub-menu, and all the way down at the bottom you have the option to return, which is to go back to this main menu, or you can just touch off screen and it will shut that down. Double tapping on screen will bring that menu up again, and you actually do have touch control of these menus here. So some of these things are a little bit tiny to be controlling with your fingers, but you are able to touch the menu and access it right like that. So that's pretty quick actually. If we touch off screen again, you can also use touch to zoom, pinch to zoom, and if you pull down from the top, you can access your custom function settings right here. You don't have to dive into the menu to do that. You can of course see what you have set if you forget, because there are 7 function buttons here. But you can also go in and actually change them right from there. So let me pull that down again. For example, F1 I have set to Y histogram right now. You can cycle through it with these arrows right on the side from audio bar position, LUT switch, LUT, mute, input, touch, safety marker, center marker, scan mode, video aspect, anamorphic mode, zoom, freeze, rotate, dot to dot, monochrome, color bars, false color, and back to Y histogram. So you can go in and reset those or switch them up very, very quickly, very, very easily. You can also see your screen's brightness as well as some other information and battery life in this screen. You can also see your battery life when you have the menu open and your firmware version right here. So the touchscreen on here is actually quite good. You can do quite a lot with it. Some of the other monitors that have that touchscreen function, for example, don't let you touch through the menu here just like this. So it's really nice to have this level of control from the touchscreen. You don't have to go and fiddle with the function buttons, which are sometimes hard to see from the angle that you're shooting. So let's just take a quick look at the actual menu to see what else is in here. We'll try to go as in-depth as possible, but we'll try to do it as quickly as possible. The display submenu has settings for your safety markers. When you turn them on, you can see, for example, the user mode has settings that pop up under it for the horizontal and vertical settings. You can also go through some other preset aspect ratios and percents, or turn it off. Turn the center marker on or off. You also have options for the marker matte, which is very similar to the safety markers. You have the marker color. You can adjust that from yellow, black, white, blue, green, or red. You have the marker thickness, so you can go from 1 up to 5. And so you can, let me turn that back on so you can see here. We'll just go right to there. And you can adjust the thickness of those lines so they're easier to see or less distracting, whatever you want it to be. Turn that back off again. You got your scan mode options, your video aspect options, your anamorphic mode options, zoom and how much it zooms, and that's for the actual zoom function by pressing the button, not the pinch to zoom. You can freeze the screen, you can rotate the screen, and rotating the screen has 2 options here, not like a horizontal, vertical, different types of rotation, it just rotates it. That's it. Dot to dot settings, and back to the main menu. In your function menus, you have the option to turn this to monochrome in any color, blue, green, red, or gray. False colors are false colors. You can turn those on or off. Peaking, you have two modes, the low mode and the high mode. Peaking color, you can also adjust between yellow, white, blue, green, or red, depending on maybe the color of your image, so something that's easier to see. You can turn your zebras on or off, and when you turn them on, you have that zebra value, which I showed you I can adjust with my function buttons. We'll turn those off again for now. You have your histogram you can turn on and off. You have your audio bar position. You can choose from the bottom to top or off. Your color bars, you can choose on or off. After that, you can program what you have here for F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, and F7. But again, you can do that very easily with the touchscreen. Same thing here, you can just cycle through all of the different things that you can program to these buttons. I want to take a quick look at F6 and F5 here because it's different from the F1 through F4 functions. You have more limited choices here. You have your zebra values, plus and minus, volume plus and minus, backlight plus and minus, zoom times plus and minus, and back to zebra values. So there's only a few options here, things that can be adjusted in a plus or minus type of way. F7 has the same amount of options as F1 through F4. In the LUT menu, you can turn your LUT on. You can choose your LUTs, which you can import from USB. It's very simple and easy to do, which you can see right here, you can go to the LUT import option and do that. Your basics menu will give you the basics, the backlight, color, temperature, brightness, contrast, saturation, sharpness, hue, and everything that I have set here is just straight out of the box and it looks fantastic. So I haven't felt the need to really adjust this at all. Jump back into the menu there, sorry. The final sub menu here is the system menu, and you can choose your language from English to a bunch of different languages actually. Let me go back to English. The transparency here, you can set the transparency of this on-screen display from a few different choices, 10 to off, which is just completely not see-through. You can go to 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, and you can see through the menu a little bit more as you do that. The on-screen display, as you've seen, it shuts down sometimes if you don't touch anything. In this case for 15 seconds, but you can adjust that to 10 seconds, 5 seconds. Always means that it's just not going to turn off by itself. You have to close it yourself. And the maximum is 25 seconds. So I leave it at 15 seconds for now. You can turn touch on and off from here, but you can also do that again with the power button. You can turn the fan on or off. So if you're in some situation where you feel like the monitor is getting hot, you can turn that on to cool it down. But I keep it off because it honestly hasn't felt hot to me at all. I've had no problems with it and I don't want to deal with the noise. The volume is for the headphone volume. You can also mute that. You can reset everything, upgrade it from the USB. You can choose the input right here from HDMI to SDI and go back to the main menu. So if you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. Also check the links in the video description if you want to see more information or pricing on the different models that they have available. If you like this video or found it helpful, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to see more in the future, and also click that little bell icon to get notifications when new content is uploaded. As always, thank you for watching.